Did I forget to tell you guys about the fire at the campground? I know I was talking about it in the intro yesterday. But I don't think I ever explained it to... Well, I don't know how it started. I'll tell you as soon as the intro's over, if I don't forget again.
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. Our brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. And we feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race.
supposed to remember where we parked, guys. Jesus. What are y'all doing? I wonder if I have pictures of that. I missed out on another $1 million idea, chat. Another one. I'm trying to see if I have old pictures of one. Doesn't matter. Anyways, let's go.
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome, everybody. I am Will Bird, and this is the Cold Beer Confessional. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. Now, I was looking on, hold on, I'll see if I can find it. So back in the day, okay, when I worked on the road and we wanted to have music, a bunch of people had Bluetooth speakers and different things, and Bluetooth speakers kind of suck, and, you know, eventually the battery dies, this, that, and the other. And when I was on the road, me and a couple guys got a Bluetooth receiver and two 6-inch speakers, and we're going to make our own Bluetooth speaker that you could plug in or have it run on battery power, right? And you could charge it with USB-C and run it off USB-C. No, it was probably mini USB. It probably wasn't USB-C. Anyways, and you could plug your phone in, and it would play. I bought the board. I didn't do any of the programming or anything. I bought a board that you could charge. We had a little battery pack we bought with it. It was actually an RC battery. And we ran Bluetooth speaker, and you could plug your phone in, charge it, or let it run off battery and connect through Bluetooth, whatever. Anyways, it was a speaker. And because we basically put it like in a wooden box at first, and because it was getting damaged, we took some sheet metal that we had on a job site and folded it up basically to a square with the speakers in the top and Bluetooth receiver hidden like down behind a piece of plexiglass and the speaker in there. And then because the speakers could still get damaged because, you know, a speaker cone is just like cardboard and shit, we put a little lid on it. And what it ended up looking like was a little toolbox. We even painted it to make it look like a little Craftsman toolbox, even though it wasn't. It was about this big, whatever, and it had like a lid that closed, kind of like a toolbox, but it didn't have drawers and shit. It was just a square with like a toolbox lid, and when you open the lid, that's where the speakers were. And we used that thing for years. I might still have it in storage. And me and a friend of mine made it or whatever, and we just thought, oh, it's like a rugged Bluetooth speaker, and whatever. We used it on the road. Well, now Harbor Freight and Cobalt have come out with these mini toolboxes, and people are getting them like for desktops, like to set on their desk, or I've seen nail technicians use them. Some people are getting them for like their RC car parts. It's a little toolbox. It's about the same size as the speaker we built, right? And this is cheap as hell. This is like $17. Like, I definitely would have done this rather than bending sheet metal. Ours didn't have drawers on it. That was the only difference, but it was the square box, and it had a lid just like this that kind of curved over the top and a hinge in the back or whatever. It didn't look as nice. Like, the fit and finish wasn't as nice, but there you go. They've come out with these little toolboxes. And as an extension of that, and we did this years ago. This is probably when I first started on the road. I want to say we made it when I was on the wind farm, which is like one of the first jobs I did on the road was working on windmills. Even before I did cell phone towers and shit, I went and worked on, I think. Yeah, even before I did cell phone towers, I worked on windmills. And now people are taking these mini toolboxes. Hold on. And putting, here it is. And putting little Bluetooth receivers in them, knobs for like fucking volume and shit, right? And speakers in the top, and selling these motherfuckers for $250 a piece. You probably have $100 worth of shit in it. $250 a piece. How crazy. They actually started this way. I saw these a while back like this, and I thought, that's kind of like that thing that we made. But I don't like this because the speakers aren't protected. So like if you don't know this like guard thing, you see my cursor? This like guard thing here is to keep a hole from poking through your speaker cone. If you take that guard off, it's just like this weird cardboard like paper that makes the cone. Same thing with this grill over here. That's to keep things from poking it. That speaker is not protected, right? It would be better if it was like on the inside somehow and then you popped it open to use it, especially if you're going to use it like in a rugged way. I'm not saying like people would have this like by their pool or whatever, but if you're taking it on the road or you're at a job site or work site or whatever when they allow music, a lot of places don't. But here's another one, $250. This one's in Asheville, so that's a completely different seller. $250 on the ones that I showed you in the plastic box. $250 here. Toolbox, boombox, built to suit, 3 colors to pick from, red, blue, black, Bluetooth, PM for more information. $250. We should have started a business, dude. We should have quit working on the road and started, I don't know, what you call it, like fucking durable Bluetooth speakers or some shit. I don't know. It worked really good. I mean, it's just car audio equipment, right? And then you buy the board pre-made where you can charge or plug in or Bluetooth or whatever, and you plug it into a battery pack, a flat pack battery pack. Yeah, we should have done that. Day late and a dollar short. All right, now the fire. I already missed out on that $1 million idea. Way behind. Now the fire. So yesterday, I got up to go to work. I don't know. Oh, no, I actually went outside to check propane, the propane tanks at the camper. And I smelled smoke. As soon as I opened the door, I smelled smoke. I thought I smelled it inside, but I couldn't be sure. And as soon as I got outside, I smelled smoke. And so I went around to like check the propane, and like this big pile of leaves that I had used the leaf blower to put up over the last like 3 days was on fire. And no one's there. Like the owner of the campground was out of town, but she was coming home that day. So in my head, somehow I justified it at first as like, oh, she must have already came home, and for some reason she started this fire, and maybe she's just running errands or something, because I didn't see her car. And I thought, oh, she's probably already back from her trip. She started this fire, and maybe she's just running around, whatever. So then I took a shower, got ready for work, did all that shit, come back outside, and the fire's still going, like this huge pile of leaves. The fire's still going, but she's still not there. And then I start thinking, no, like, we don't do shit like that. Like, we're not going to start a fire and then leave. Like, you might go inside and, like, watch it from the window, but you're not going to start a fire and leave. I was like, no, that's dumb. How did this fucking fire start it? So, one of two possibilities, and you guys tell me what you think is more logical. So, the leaves were on a burn pile that I had been burning logs on for, like, brush and shit for, like, 3 days straight, okay? I had been burning logs and wood, anything burnable wood-wise, a big burn pile. And I understand it has coals in it and shit like that. I get that. It had been 6 days since I had, it's 7. It had been 6 days since I had been burning anything on that. And it had been down in the single digits and snowing and raining for the 3 days prior to that. So no wood, no fire, no nothing for 6 days. And 3 of those days, it had been down in single digits. It was 8 degrees one night. Snow and rain for 3 days. Like, my yard was muddy. Not like a drizzle. My yard was fucking muddy. Our porch froze and then thawed and then froze and thawed. 6 days with no flame. Or so the option is maybe it was embers from the fire, right? Or 2, when you pile shit up, right, and it's wet, which a lot of the leaves were wet when I was piling them up. That's why it's so hard to get the leaf blower to move them. And they start to dry like in a bunch, they can self-ignite. They can produce enough heat to self-ignite. Like you can do this with sawdust, you can do this with leaves, you can do this with wood, you can do it with hay. There's a bunch of things that you pile up, and as they dry, they produce heat, and that heat can get high enough to self-ignite. I've literally seen it with my own eyes with hay and sawdust. I've never seen it with leaves, but I know it's a thing that happens. But I honestly have no idea. Maybe it was the embers from the fire. And the day before was really windy, but no smoke, no flame, or no. The day before was really windy, so that would make sense. Like it was maybe stoking embers. The wind pushing through there and blew some ashes off and stoked embers, so he's just sitting there kind of smoldering, even though it was cold and rainy and snowing. I don't know. It just caught me off guard because in my head, like first thing in the morning when I woke up, because I stay up late, so I woke up at like 9, 10. So when I was outside, I was just like, oh, she probably started the fire or whatever. But then when I started coming back out and I'm thinking more about it, I was like, what the fuck? There's no way. There's no way she started the fire and then just left for several hours. Like she wouldn't do that. Very weird. But anyways, the fire started and she ended up not getting back till late that evening. I actually called her while she was maybe an hour away and it was already dark. And I was like, no chance you came by and like started a fire this morning. And she's like, no, why? And I was like, well, I came out and the fire was just started. But I would like to believe it's probably more likely that it was embers than the drying process, but you never know. It was a mystery fire I was trying to figure out. But since the fire was already going, when I came out, I just took a bunch of the other leaves that I could get to and blew them into the fire and just kept it stoked because I wasn't planning on burning leaves that day, but fuck. Nature finds a way, I guess. Anyways. If you want a cool, durable speaker, hit me up. I'll build you one, I guess. We'll see about that. Also, you have to go check my TikTok if you want to see the pickle holder. But I have made another one. Check this one out. You see that one? That one's pretty slim. If you're my family, warning, if you're my family, you're not allowed to watch this. Tune out for the next 10 minutes. Mute it, leave, whatever. If you're my family and you happen to see this clip, don't watch it, okay? So this is my second white elephant gift in this small tube, and it comes apart the same way. You just kind of twist it apart, and I figured I would be kind of fancy. You know, I've got some fancy people in my family, right? I don't always have to be like the redneck uncle that shows up or whatever. So I went with some original artwork, right? Not original to me. Somebody created it. And so, so this is the artwork we ended up with, okay? It already looks so good. Obviously, it's an impressionist piece. And, you know, you get a lot of emotions out of this, right? Aghast, some may say. This is a print. It's got the dimensions down here in case you want to frame it. And hang that on your wall. That would be a good entryway painting. Maybe set the tone for someone coming into your house right off the bat. Maybe above the kitchen sink is another place I could think of. The garage would be a really good place for this. I mean, clearly a beautiful piece of art, an original print on canvas, guys, on canvas. This is not cheap. Okay, this is not poster board. It's on canvas. One of so many prints, I have no idea. Whatever the TikTok shop sells this week, okay? It is not 8.5 by 11. It is unframed, fits an 8-inch by 10-inch frame. So there you go with that. That is Christmas gift number 2. Original artwork from some guy in Atsuko's territory, right? Ni Hao Long or something. And then the pickle container is very good. It's done. So look at this son of a bitch. Slap a bow right there. Boom. You got a ready-made. I wish you could see the texture on this. Let's see. Can I do this? Can you guys see the texture? If I get it off my face and get it to focus. You guys see the texture on that? That's a pretty cool texture. It's like, it's not smooth. Like, I intentionally put texture on it. It's called fuzzy print. Both of them are like that. And it's like a cool, I don't know, like a modern, it makes it look more modern, more sleek or whatever. And then the top and bottom are smooth. That's what a regular smooth print would look like, right? And then here's texture. And then you slap a bow on these two. Look at that. 2 white elephant gifts. Get a white bow, black and white, right? Like a black tie affair kind of deal. You know what I'm saying? Beautiful. The other 2 gifts I got are real gifts. I'll just go ahead and show them to you. I'm going to make a video on this as well for TikTok. But these are the new viral nail clippers. They're made by a company, Edgy, and they're actually really good. So, like, nail clippers there's been a patent on fingernail clippers since, like, the 1800s, okay? And nothing's changed. They basically are dull, right? They're not super sharp. They, like, crush your nail. They do damage to your nail. These use German steel. It's an American company. They are super sharp, like stainless steel, like a high-end stainless steel. They're super sharp, and they cut a different way. Like, you kind of cut on top like this. It catches the nail, one. It cuts cleanly, and it captures the nail on the bottom. It says single blade, means clean cuts, smooth nails with no snags. It collects all the cuttings, effortless precision. Oh, yeah, it's got this thing that you bump up against your finger so you can't cut your nails too short. Effortless precision, healthier nails, doctor-backed, and won't dull or rust. Edgy's single blade design was with a dermatologist to deliver clean, precise cuts. It's not a nail clipper. Experience smoother, healthier nails with Edgy fingernail. I don't know. They're viral right now, and they're really good. I bought a pair for my family, and they're good. So somebody can use that at the White Christmas. That's like a real gift, not like a joke. And then this game. Have you guys seen this game? So there's 20 of these little pucks, and they are super strong magnets, okay? So actually, I'll just show you a video of somebody playing it. Hold on. It'll be easier than me explaining it. I have to change the camera back, but give me just a second. Ooh. I hate you already. New tab to the right. This game is actually really good. You throw it's got a string in there that's tied in a loop, and you throw that down in whatever shape you want, and that's your game board. Okay, you put it whatever shape you want on the table. So because it's a string, you can make it weird shapes. You can make it a circle. You make it a square. You can make it whatever. And you split the magnetic pieces between all the players, and then you have to go in turn setting a piece down. But because they're super strong magnets, and because they're like made of this weird shape, they want to attract each other. And if you place a piece, and before the next person moves, if it attracts magnets, you got to pick all those up, right? Whatever magnets are attracted to the one you placed, you have to pick them all. Sometimes it'll attract them all because it like bounces around and shit. And the first one out of magnets wins. It's a fun and simple game.
I was like a
kids
ninja.
And adults can play it. Here's a video of it. So check this out. This is the other gift I got. Loser makes dinner. This is like the brand name. So we had to stay below. I think it was $10 to $20 or something. But the brand name one was like $30. So I bought the off-brand one. It just says magnetic chess, but it's the same game.
Loser makes dinner.
So see the pucks and how they, like, you got to stand them on edge, and they've got all these different surfaces where they can rock and move. And
they're moving. No.
See how strong the magnets are?
Oh no.
Wow.
No.
I cannot believe he placed that one.
Oh.
So she has to pick up anything that got stuck together. She has to pick them back up.
No.
So now she's got 3, and he can keep placing them because she keeps emptying the board.
Ooh.
Are you?
So she's got to pick them all up.
Yes.
I win.
So I don't know. It's a fun game. Kids can play it. Adults can play it. I think it's a cool game. I already played with it just here on the table. I wanted to see how strong the attraction was. And of course, the slicker the table, the harder it is because they can slide easier. So I thought that was a cool game. So that's my 4. And then I got an extra one because I might substitute one of these out. So the last one is this. Everybody likes calendars, right? Everybody needs a calendar. Let me go over to the main camera. Oh, no, main camera. So this is a calendar about the author-illustrator. He seems like a cool guy, I guess. His name is Tommy Siegel. And this calendar is called Extremely Accurate Birds. Extremely Accurate Birds. Right? I'm not too edgy, right? My sister told me I could not be vulgar because her husband will not get my sense of humor. And I did not go vulgar. So these are the extremely accurate birds in the in the calendar. So let's open it up. Right there, right off the bat, America's #1 bird rock podcast, right? And let's go to January. Boom. What is that, a woodpecker? Red-headed woodpecker? Yeah, I like it. February. Damn, girl. Those are extremely accurate birds right there. I will tell you that. It's extremely accurate. And then one more sneak peek. Ooh, look at that, girl. That is Miss March right there. Extremely accurate. And as a bonus, if you take this as your white elephant gift, as a bonus, you get extremely accurate bird sticker pack. 4 stickers. 4 stickers. Put them on your car. Put them on your neighbor's car. I don't know. Whatever you're into, extremely accurate bird stickers. Go with the extremely accurate bird calendar. So I'm just saying, whoever gets my gifts, fucking lucked out, bro. I'm telling, they lucked out. Who wouldn't want those gifts?
I was like a ninja.
Eli wouldn't want them, that piece of shit. Anyways, that's my white elephant gifts. And back to the show. I think I did a good job. And I was not vulgar. I promised not to be vulgar. So I had to kind of, skirt the rules. Rules were made to bend, right? Does anybody know what the fuck this bitch is saying?
Can Santa see in the dark? Does he wear night vision goggles that make everything green? I bet he'd like that because Santa likes green. Or heat vision goggles because he might like red better. Should we leave
You're supposed to show the kids the pictures, not enjoy them yourselves.
out carrots, not
Santa likes green or red?
cookies on Christmas Eve, since they're good for his eyesight?
Those fucking kids, dude. You can even see one girl leaning over trying to see the pictures.
No. The twinkling lights on the tree.
The twinkling.
Light.
No. The twinkling lights on the Santa tree. Hinga-dinga-durgan. No. The twinkling lights.
No. The twinkling lights on the tree.
No. The twinkling lights.
Will make enough light for his eyesight? No. The twinkling lights on the tree will make
It's
enough
funnier every time I hear it, and I know it's coming.
light for Santa to see. Tiptoeing past chairs.
Now watch this girl over here.
bumpy
She's like, what you got going on over there? I have no idea what you're saying. Is that pictures? Could you show me the pictures?
to leave a present or 2 or 3 and get a kiss from the dog if it's a dog that leaks, and take a cookie or 2 or 3 and then leave. Santa goes up the chimney the same way he comes down.
Well, I think there's a difference in like someone coming here for 20 years and being a regular fucking person who interacts with regular fucking people all the time, and versus being extremely wealthy and you have very little interaction except with like the help, right? Like she wasn't like thrown into a school and a job and fucking social activities and the bar and everything where she has to try to fit in with everybody. She had servants around her, right? The help. I think that's why they say like one of the best ways to even learn a foreign language is just to be fucking immersed in it. Just like go to Mexico and try to fucking live. But yeah, I don't think that she's gonna lose much of her accent at the level that she's at.
And I have no idea how Santa does that. But I'm so glad
I love my suitcase.
he can. Can Santa see in the dark?
The twinkle-linka lights, hinga-dinga-durgan.
Oh my gosh. A mayor in California.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. A mayor in California decided to come speak at the Turning Point High School Club, which is called the Freedom something. Did you guys see this?
Oh my gosh. A mayor in California said that her remarks at the first ever Club America meeting at
The Club America meeting. This is a local mayor was asked to speak at the Turning Point High School Club, which is called Club America, which is wild. They're going to high school to, they claim that universities everywhere are indoctrinating kids, when in fact it's just being exposed to other cultures. You become more tolerant. But they're going to the high school to get ahead of it, to indoctrinate them there.
high school were taken out of context. Club America is Turning Point USA's high school arm. So let's listen to her remarks in context, shall we?
Martin Luther King was a Marxist, and that he was a socialism, and a lot of the civil rights things that he advocated for were not really helpful. Now,
Martin Luther King Jr. was a Marxist. Yes, he was. And he was involved in socialism. And a lot of the Civil Rights Act things that he advocated for were not really helpful.
civil rights things that he...
But wait, does it make you feel better that her daughter was molested and that made her become a lesbian?
He advocated for were not really helpful. Now, there's a lot of research to that, but we can argue about that. That's kind of what you... And also, in personal life, my oldest daughter had a lot of trauma as a child. Something really terrible happened to her when she was very young that I would hope never would happen to any other child. And as a result of it, she's a lesbian, she's gay, and she's married to a woman. And sometimes that's a little bit of internal struggle for me because I believe that marriage is between a man and a woman, and I believe that the scripture is very clear on homosexuality. But on the other side of that, I love her dearly. We are in relationship. And that's what Charlie Kirk's message was. It's like, we may not agree. My daughter knows where I stand biblically, but I love her. We're actually going to spend Christmas with her in Missouri. We love her, and we have a child, and I love my grandchild. And I love my daughter-in-law, which is weird to say, right? My daughter's married to a woman, but it is the reality. There's a...
Oh my gosh. A mayor in California said that her...
Now, how the fuck do you take those out of context, bro? How the fuck do you take those? How do you take that out of context? Oh, I misspelled it. It's Andrietta. Here's her apology video.
Good evening.
She apologizes to her daughter and asks people to leave her kids alone after video published from school Charlie Kirk Club meeting. By the way, she says, even though my daughter, it was clipped from that version of it, but in the full version, she says, even though my daughter is a lesbian and went through this trauma or whatever, she loved Charlie Kirk. Weird.
Yesterday, I released a written statement in response to the video put out by the Sacramento Bee after my presentation at 12 Bridges High School Club America. And in that written statement, I issued an apology to my daughter for speaking about her story and telling her information that wasn't mine to tell. But there was another comment that I need to clarify for her safety and for her well-being. I had said that she loves Charlie Kirk, and that was a mischaracterization.
Yes, extremely adult kids.
Violence of his death was jarring, and it made an impact just like it did on millions of people around the world. But it was wrong for me to say that she loved him or that she was a true fan, because
So now she's saying, I just lied about my daughter being a lesbian and being a Charlie Kirk fan and that she loved him. And that was just all a lie.
Just like it did on millions of people around the world. But it was wrong for me to say that she loved him or that she was a true fan, because that's not the case. So I wanted to clarify that and set the record straight on that.
Don't even tell your daughter's fucking, if she's an adult now, don't even tell her story about the trauma she had as a kid. Like, what the fuck? Best case scenario, you say, one of my children went through something horrible, and here's how I dealt with it, right? Nothing to do with them, but telling her molestation or rape or whatever it is, we don't know. She just said a really, really bad trauma. I wouldn't want anybody to go through it kind of deal. But don't tell her story.
And I am putting out this video because since all of this happened, because of the anger directed at me and the misrepresentation of my words and intents, and again, I take responsibility, but because of all that, my daughter has become a target. And this has affected my other children too. And so I'm asking whoever's out there, as this video gets shared and people see it, please leave my kids alone. Leave my family alone. When you're in public service or you're a public figure, you're fair game. I'm fair game, but not my family, not my children. So I'm asking you respectfully, leave them alone, leave her alone.
Misrepresentation when we literally watched you say it.
Have some decency and respect. Thank you for that, because she didn't do anything wrong and she's a beautiful human being. And I want to reiterate that although my intentions were good and I was just trying to teach a lesson on loving people, even when you have a different perspective, I betrayed my daughter's confidence. And that was wrong of me, and I'm deeply regretful.
It's weird for the crowd that says Charlie didn't spread hate and violence. He just used his words. But then when the words come back to them, they're like, I can't believe you guys are coming after me and my kids and saying mean words.
But I love her, and I love her.
That's violence.
And she means everything to us. And so I hope that brings some more clarity, and I hope that people out there listen and stop attacking my child. Thank you. Have a good night. Good evening. Yesterday,
How fucking insane is that?
separation of church and state is a myth. A lot of research has come out that Martin Luther King was a Marxist. My oldest daughter had a lot of trauma as a child. Something really terrible happened to her when she was very young. And as a result of it, she's a lesbian. She's gay.
Don't forget the left is grooming children.
She's married to a woman. I believe that marriage is between a man and a woman, and I believe, Christian nationalists and all these names, that's just a name that the left made up to silence people. I am a Christian and I love my nation. Okay, if I'm a Christian nationalist, and I love my daughter-in-law, which is weird to say, right? My daughter's married to
Why would you say that? That's weird to say.
a woman, but I'm not Mormon, but I love them. I have whatever the decisions that I make are based on my biblical worldview. And that's what Charlie Kirk's message was, is although my intentions were good.
You know, she used to be a teacher as well. Does that make you feel better about it?
You are all curious what is going on or what's being discussed at these Turning Point USA Club
She used to teach 8th grade.
America meetings being forced on all of our high school students across the country. I happen to have a recording of an actual meeting that deserves a massive trigger warning.
When you say you have to have 50% black pilots and we need to get it done now, then what do you need to do to get that larger percentage? You have to lower the standards.
There it is. When you say we need 50% black pilots and we need them, is that how DEI works? Did they have hiring fucking goals they had to meet by ethnicity? Of course not.
You create this large DEI percentage, and then you lower the standards. That puts people in harm's way. Does that make sense?
She's basically what she's doing is trying to justify everything Charlie Kirk said. This is like an inaugural meeting, and people are coming there being like, well, Charlie Kirk said this, and she's saying, no. He didn't say that. He didn't say that black women are dumb and taking spots away from white women. He just said that these 3 black women that he names are taking a white person's spots. But it had nothing to do with them being black. It was just those specific 3 women that he names. And when he says white person's spot, he means anybody's spot. It's not about race. Remember?
Well, actually, in a lot of industries, they did. In the industry, they did say 50% black pilots. They did say that.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
And so a lot of the industries do.
In fact, 50% black pilots would be a wild overrepresentation because they're not 50% of the population. But you can look at jobs like that, and we do it with STEM and most people didn't complain. Some people still did. They looked at STEM and said, why do we not have females working in this field? Females are, 51% of the population or whatever, and they make up less than 1% of the jobs in STEM, right? What's going on here, and how do we get it to where it's more representative? Obviously, we're doing something wrong because women would probably like to have this job, right? It's a good paying job. It's an emerging field. There's tons of jobs available. There's some type of disconnect here, right? And how can we fix that disconnect? Can we advertise to them more? Could we make Legos, that are marketed towards younger female children? Could we, have programs that introduce this to them in middle school, and maybe it's something they're interested? Because little boys are brought up working with their dad on cars, and girls aren't, right? So there's some type of disconnect. So we at least want them applying for the jobs. We don't care if they get the job. We don't care how many get, but we at least want them applying for the job, and then it's equal.
They have these metrics, so that is happening. I don't have it on me. We can look at it. A lot of research has come out that Martin Luther.
It's not the color. It has nothing to do with color. Literally. The best DEI programs are just like, well, we should also advertise this job opening in black communities. Yeah, you should.
Was a Marxist, and that he was into socialism, and a lot of the civil rights things that he advocated for were not really helpful. Now, there's a lot of research to that, but we can argue about that. My oldest daughter had a lot of trauma as a child. Something really terrible happened to her when she was very young that I would have never happened to any other child. And as a result of it, she's a lesbian, she's gay, and she's married to a woman. So I believe that marriage is between a man and a woman, and I believe that Scripture is very clear on homosexuality. But on the other side of that, I love her dearly. We are in relationship. And
I don't believe you.
Message was, it's like, we may not agree. My daughter knows where I stand biblically, but I love her. I love my daughter-in-law, which is weird to say, right? My daughter's married to a woman. There's an individual in Placer County that she's a very lost soul, and my friends, we pray for her. And she likes to crash me online.
In fact, in all of Canada, race-based hiring is illegal.
She trashes other conservative leaders, other elected officials. She says the most horrible things. I'm not concerned because what she does is she takes things out of context. And that's a dangerous place. Christian nationalists and all these names, that's just a name that the left made up to silence people. I am a Christian and I love my nation. Okay, if I'm a Christian nationalist, but they use it in a negative way. But people are afraid to have those labels. Now, let me just clarify.
I'm a Christian and a nationalist, but I'm not a Christian nationalist.
We need to love everybody. Don't let the world or politics or the left put a label on you to silence you, right? You have to, and you also need to fear God, not fear man.
Okay. That makes sense.
That people who are being used of the devil.
That was God from that rooftop that took out Charlie Kirk. That's what he should have been afraid of.
There's a lot of feelings of unsafeness because of just this club and just the
There's nothing unsafe about this room, and I understand what you're saying with Charlie, but again, I think maybe ask yourself this question. Do you feel unsafe by some of the things Charlie said? Because that's what, and I'm sorry if the term the left offended you. I didn't mean that to offend you, but that's how we, right, left, middle, whatever, right? Okay. Because maybe that's what the media and what people are saying now. It's like, oh, he said this, or he's this, or that, whatever. Maybe if you actually spend some time actually listening to what he said. I even respect people who are.
You don't feel unsafe because Charlie Kirk. You feel unsafe because the left made you feel unsafe.
I think maybe ask yourself this question. Do you feel unsafe by some of the things Charlie said? Because
you don't feel unsafe because Charlie Kirk said you don't deserve human rights. You feel unsafe because the left told you to feel unsafe.
That's what, and I'm sorry if the term the left offended you. I didn't mean that to offend you, but that's how we, right, left, middle, whatever, right? Okay. Because maybe that's what the media and what people are saying now. It's like, oh, he said this, or he's this, or that, whatever. Maybe if you actually spend some time actually listening to what he said. I even respect people who are atheists, although I think that it takes a lot more faith to be an atheist than it does to believe that there's a higher power and a creative designer, right? Separation of church and state is a myth, okay? It's not in the Constitution. Our world has flipped that and tried to say that there's no place for faith in the public life, and so that's not really what he meant. When I'm on city council, I don't sit up on the dais and preach a sermon. That's inappropriate, right? We're there to do city business. Whatever the decisions that I make are based on my biblical worldview, just like my colleagues that make their decisions are based on their biblical or not biblical worldview.
For once, I would like to see just one MAGA public school teacher or public school educator enter the chat and explain to me why you think this is academically or developmentally appropriate to be going on inside your school. There's a few key takeaways that I want you guys to leave with. Number one, this is the mayor.
They wouldn't let, the fucking Kamala Harris activist start up this club and do, of course not.
of her town going to her local public high school and using Turning Point USA as a tool to indoctrinate your children. She has the audacity to say that she doesn't use her public office to preach in city council meetings, but she thinks she has the right to go to her local public high school and do that exact thing with other people's children. Separation of church and state is a myth, she says, that's perpetuated by the left, yet she's doing the very textbook definition of state-sponsored indoctrination inside public schools. Number two, their accusations are always confessions. They have spent several decades accusing public school teachers of being liberal indoctrinators, but this woman has the audacity to...
By the way, just having empathy for anybody is liberal indoctrination.
These kids and lecture them about her personal, religious, and political views. Number three.
Fucking Jim Hamilton made a video that she said, when you're in my hospital, she's a nurse, when you're in my hospital and delivering a baby, I don't care, about whether you're here legally or what your status is or if you're on food stamps or blah, blah, I don't care. And they fucking tried to cancel her over it.
It's really disturbing to me how they are treating Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk's legacy as if he is Jesus Christ himself. The way they talk about him.
Charlie did, political or not, he infused Jesus into...
This is her preaching a sermon, but instead of preaching about Jesus, she's preaching about Charlie Kirk. Number four.
This is why the Satanic Temple or whatever is so important. They don't really want to bring a satanic priest to start a club and preach Satanism, right? But they're showing the bias. Like, if you wouldn't allow that, then you can't allow this. That's why they're so important in the troll work they do. They're just a bunch of trolls. There is no religion. When you put up the 10 Commandments, then they're allowed to put up their 10 Satanist whatever rules, right? When you claim that, you can't do abortion procedures unless it has some type of religious service, and then they can't stop it. Well, then suddenly, our religious service is sacrificing babies, right? They just show the bias in the system.
Or is it? I don't know. If they're going to continuously accuse us of using public school spaces to indoctrinate children into liberalism while they actually bring in clubs and adults to do actual indoctrination, then we should just meet them where they are. We need to just meet them where they are. If they're going to bring Turning Point USA into our high schools, then we need to be bringing clubs from the opposite end of the spectrum in to do the exact same thing that they're doing with our kids. The irony is they think actual teachers are doing this bullshit in their classroom to the left side of the spectrum, but they're not. And then number five, I guess. And then last but not least, this is not going to accomplish what they think it's going to accomplish. Do you see these kids? Do you hear their muffled responses to what she's saying? This is not going to move children to the right the way they think it's going to. There are already kids that exist in schools that think this way, but they're not going to be moving anyone in their direction by sending a middle-aged woman in to lecture these kids for over an hour about conservatism and the dangers of liberalism. It
would have been one thing if she would just come in and talked about like her job, how you get your job, how she got elected, how elections work, how to register to vote. That's one thing. This is not that. Right, this is considerably biased towards one side. Holly Woods, Andrietta, moved to Lincoln with her family in the early 1970s and grew up here for most of her childhood and early teen years. Andrietta is also an ordained minister with the Assemblies of God, and she and her husband attended and serve at Lincoln Christian Life Center. She was elected in 2018 but avoided the need to campaign in 2022 when the council voted 4-1 to cancel the election when Andrietta was the only candidate to announce by the August deadline. Nobody's even primarying this bitch. Elected November 18, she didn't have to run in the last election. Bethany University with a bachelor's degree in social studies. Notable quote, "I'm not saying that I don't want any more development. I'm just saying that for now, anything new that comes forward, we need to take a step back." Sounds like my shitty town. The mayor of, what was the... Lincoln, California. Fucking insane, dude. What about what's going on with us? Surely it doesn't look like a literal fucking Somali war zone in Chicago, Surely not, right? And obviously they wouldn't put one handcuff on the arm of a pregnant woman and then drag her around by that through the streets, would they?
You move. Hey, make your right. Do not move. Back up. Go! Grab that red car! You a black man working for the devil! Let's fucking go! Stop resisting! Fucking go! I'm recording!
Wait, she's pregnant, bro.
She's pregnant!
Yes, we need assistance immediately. This is a homeland.
So I think someone that knows the ICE agents called in. Listen what they have to say.
Yes, we need assistance immediately. This is a Homeland Security. I got officers getting attacked. Okay, where? On West 29th and Pillsbury. I got forwarded to Minneapolis, and they're not answering their phone.
29th.
It's right down the street from Chicago Lake Liquors. Yep. West 29th and Pillsbury Avenue. They're surrounded, and they're being attacked.
How many is it, like? Okay.
We only have a few officers, but we have, what did they say, 60 to 70 agitators that are fighting them. They're not answering their phone now, so I don't know if they got...
See, they were in contact with them across the phone. They're like, oh, they're not answering their phone now. And they said they had 60 to 7 agitators. I don't know if they're knocked out or hurt or what.
Knocked out or what, so we need help.
Look at them dragging this pregnant lady by a handcuff. You think that's going to make the agitators ease up? You think it's going to make them feel better?
29th.
They just start dragging her by a single handcuff.
The street from Chicago Lake Liquors. Yep. West 29th and Pillsbury Avenue. They're surrounded, and they're being attacked.
How many is it, like? Okay.
Look at them dragging her.
But we have, what did they say, 60 to 70?
They claim, I don't know, I wasn't there, and I'm obviously not her, but they claim she's pregnant.
Agitators that are fighting.
She might not be, I don't know.
They're not answering their phone now, so I don't know if they got knocked out or what, so we need help.
Dragging her absolutely is the wrong move here. Even if you got to let her go and pick her up a different day or whatever, right? Dragging her is not the move. They've pepper sprayed themselves now. So he just takes off running. The MPD and Hennepin County Sheriff's Office both responded to the scene. MPD left the scene after 10 minutes. Said in a statement, the deputies didn't witness any attacks on agents or any injured agents. That's from Hennepin County. That was a Department of Homeland Security supervisor called Minneapolis Police and the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office requesting assistance. In the video shared with NPR News, the agents are seen using pepper spray, pepper balls, and tasers on bystanders. One agent is seen wildly swinging a baton to keep protesters at bay before apparently getting hit by a colleague's own pepper spray. Witnesses say at least 3 people at the chaotic scene were arrested. The Department of Homeland Security and ICE did not respond to a request for comment. The agency is reporting that at least 400 people have been arrested during the operation. It's Minneapolis, not Chicago. Minneapolis City Council recently voted unanimously to strengthen the city separation ordinance, which bans Minneapolis police from assisting in federal immigration actions. I don't know how they've wrecked this fucking car. I don't know what the fuck that was from. They're still even right here at the end while the car's pulling away, they're still pepperballing people. Watch this. See that guy there? See him? Telling people to stay back. He's off here to the left. Now watch. Right there. And the car's leaving. What's he gonna do? Pepperballs. How fucking insane. Dragging this woman. What they claim is a pregnant. Even if she's not pregnant, once someone shouts that out, the entire crowd thinks that she is pregnant. Then they drag. That is not the move, bro. What are you doing? It's a little bit longer video if you want to watch it. I think it's interesting.
Whose car is this? You guys gotta get these cars out of the way.
They're homeland defenders. Don't forget that. They tried arresting her after a traffic stop, I believe is what the statement said. This is clearly after the police already arrived. I'm gonna skip ahead some. But.
Excuse me. Why do they pay you? Why?
For one immigrant woman.
Why you guys here with them? Taking our money and getting rid of our people. You know what? Do you sleep good knowing that you do this?
Just look at how much payroll's sitting there. Okay, so, Sister Doll, the first thing you said sounds reasonable. The Ottawa Police Services actively encourages applications from people of various diverse backgrounds and experiences to ensure the force reflects the community it serves. The next part is fucking crazy talk that the police have never said ever. White men and women would not get hired even with perfect scores. That's some shit that someone just made up. Where did you find that statement? White men and women would not get hired even with perfect score. Where did you find that statement? If it's not made up, where is it? Where is that in their hiring practices? Who officially from the local government said this? Not a podcast you watch, not your opinion, not someone else's opinion. Who said with perfect scores we don't hire white people? It didn't happen.
Water? Police also is helping them.
Oh, so people who didn't get hired claimed that they didn't get hired because they were white. I just put in an application for the Secret Service and they wouldn't hire me because I'm bald. I had perfect test scores. 100%. I had the best test. No one's ever tested as good as I did. You said, wait. You said your first claim was, my provinces, they even write it, will be the only ones they're looking for, meaning people of color. I think you just heard people complaining about it and took it as fact. I don't think that's true. And I don't think you'd find any evidence to support that other than, well, they wouldn't hire me because I'm the best officer in the world, but I'm white. I know statistics don't support it. I guarantee you the police force is overwhelmingly white. There's the collapsible baton. I want to see if we can find out what happened to the side of that car. Did they ram each other? Oh, they're arresting somebody there. Who is it? What did they do? Okay, so this guy's walking through, asking a question. They're going to grab him. It looked like his pants is why I'm asking. All right, there's the baton. It could have been his pants. They look like khaki pants, didn't they? Maybe, but he goes behind the car. Oh, it is that guy. What are they saying he did? The big fat guy just throws him on the ground. So there's the fat guy we're looking for. He just said, everyone look out, or everyone back up, or everyone something. Oh, that cop ate shit, dude. Did you see that? Somebody shoved him over the guy on the ground. Damn it, I can't barely go back. Right here, boom. That seems like clear escalation to me, dude. Like, do you want to get out of there and not cause escalation, or are you trying to escalate the situation? It seems like escalation. So I had an idea, a really bad idea, but it would be an extremely viral video. Okay, I don't even know if I should say this if somebody does it and then blames me. Are they in that busted ass truck too? Is that ICE as well?
You guys here with them?
What happens? Everybody's running right here. Yeah, I don't know why everybody starts running. I see the cops running first. He just smacked a fucking car. Is that what they said? Yeah, the whistles. I understand why they're using them, but they kind of suck for watching the replay, don't they?
Police also is helping them. Ace.
Nobody's gonna miss it though with the whistle. Nobody's gonna miss ICE in the neighborhood with the whistles. Yeah, like I said earlier, just think how many payrolls are here for 3 hours, or however long they were here. There's probably 80 cops there. And they total of 3 arrests. So the 1 immigrant and then 2 bystanders.
Why they arresting the citizens, officer?
They didn't arrest anyone.
They arrested one Somali citizen.
Hey, hit him.
And you guys helping them?
Minneapolis? Yeah. I have the officer. Fuck you! I don't know if you, I don't know.
Why you guys helping ICE?
Our assistant chief. Yeah, I have no idea.
Why you guys helping ICE?
Minneapolis is like, where the fuck? We're getting out of here. The sheriff's department hung around. That's the longest video I could find of it. But I can't take the whistles anymore. I'm good. I bet you guys didn't see this, right? They're not going to show this on the lamestream media.
You were foolish to return, Obi-Wan. I am the master.
I know, Vader. You are. You're definitely the master.
What?
We all agree you are the master. The master of peace. That's why FIFA have created this Jedi Peace Prize. In recognition of you bringing order to the galaxy. Look, it's a golden trophy showing gnarled hands holding up the Death Star. What could represent peace more than that? It's about time someone gave you the credit for all the peaceful work you've done. That Darth Vader, they say, he stops all the Star Wars. He stopped that war on Alderaan single-handedly, just by blowing up Alderaan.
Hold on a second. I see what's happening here. This peace prize has been invented solely to stroke my ego, hasn't it?
You get a medal as well.
Such a great honor. Thank you. Foolish to return, Obi-Wan.
And while we're talking about the BBC, here's some commentary on their lawsuit coming up.
There's absolutely no way the BBC can pay.
Should the BBC settle following Trump's mammoth lawsuit for $10 billion?
There's absolutely no way the BBC can pay out to Trump without going to court. I mean, that would be, the BBC's been making some strange decisions at late, so let's not rule it out. And I can see the logic of it might be, well, listen, we pay him $10 million, he gets his victory, we admit defeat, and it costs us less than it might do to go to court. But I just think that the idea that the BBC pays out on a lawsuit that pretty much every lawyer I've spoken to considers, specious at best, with virtually no chance of succeeding, I think for the BBC to do that would be so toxic. I'm not actually sure their reputation would recover.
The BBC had
Trump's going as far as to claim it was election interference, but it never aired in the U.S. Never.
Unambiguous legal advice that there was broadly no serious damages inflicted on Trump. There was no serious case to answer. I mean, I have to say, his lawyers definitely have a sense of humor. The Panorama editing had, this is direct quote, caused massive economic damage to his brand value and significant damage, this is my favorite bit, significant damage and injury to his future financial prospects. There is, however, always a risk, when you fight these things, the legal bills mount up and up and up and up and up. And I don't know
People said I didn't look like your average football player.
Confident that if it wins, it won't nonetheless end up with a pretty enormous legal bill.
There's absolutely no way the BBC can pay out to Trump without going to court. I mean, that would be...
I don't see that happening. Like, it's such a joke.
The biggest welfare queens in this country are the giant corporations that don't pay a penny in federal taxes. The biggest welfare queens are the CEOs who get a tax deduction for flying on a private jet. It's not hungry kids. It's not working parents who work multiple jobs to provide for their families. I agree with you that we need individual responsibility, and I don't want to create a culture of dependency. I want a hand up and not a handout. I believe that you don't give a man to fish, you teach a man to fish. But if you're going to take your friend out on a boat for the day to teach him how to fish, you want to make sure he had breakfast that morning. You want to make sure he's not sick, because that allows him to learn how to fish. Again, I was a public school teacher, so I saw how when kids showed up hungry, they couldn't learn that day. Even my brightest students, even my hardest working students, couldn't succeed, couldn't pull themselves up by their bootstraps when they didn't have boots. That's what I'm trying to fix in this country. We don't want dependency. We want to reward hard work. And I think that should apply to those billionaires, not just working people. The biggest welfare queens in this country are the giant corporations that don't pay a penny.
That's so fucking true, too. Like, again, the people making 60, I think it was 60 to 80K, you pay like $36 a year for food stamps and over $400 in corporate subsidies. And you're always mad about the food stamps, but you never even bring up the fucking subsidies.
A number of Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of...
By the way, Trump did not announce war in Venezuela like a lot of people said he was going to. Right? That didn't happen. Oh, shit.
A number of Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. It was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person. Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country. Yeah.
A number of Republicans.
That's insane. Here's one of his recent truths. Ralph Warnock was on Meet the Fake Press with a one-sided, very biased Kristen Welker as the hostess. Warnock spent the entire show using religion to try to divide the country. If a Republican, in particular me, made those statements, it would be front page news. He ended by saying that he was going to his church to preach now. And while I think that's fine, I do say, whatever happened to separation of church and state? Are you shitting me? Trump doesn't even have the power to give a military bonus. Like, Congress controls the purse. I said in TikTok, or I said in Discord, maybe he plans on signing an executive order that he wants Congress to do this. And then if they do pass it, fine, he did it. And if they don't pass it, he can say, I tried. But they wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck that's about. No, it's not. It's very weird to get that weird 1776 bonus. Whatever happened to church separation of church and state? These are the same guy that televises his prayer meetings before they make decisions and shit. That would be the first thing they would use against us, but actually it's something that never much bothered me, but I'm making a whole post about it, but it doesn't bother me. Anyway, Warnock is a lightweight whose wife correctly states that he tried to run her over with a car. Fortunately, she was able to get out of the way and only almost lost her foot. Warnock is a bad guy, and NBC News, which is second only to ABC fake news for being the worst, should be ashamed of themselves in allowing garbage interviews with untalented and uncaring people to take place. The public airwaves, which these networks are using at no charge, should not be allowed to get away with this any longer. They should be properly licensed and pay significant amounts of money for using this very valuable public space. Thank you for your attention to this matter, MAGA. Now, that brings us to the head of the FCC. I thought I just searched that, didn't I? Was in Congress today. I don't know. I would like a longer video with some of the better takeaways rather than watching the whole thing, but all these videos are like 5 or 6 minutes. Like a 20 or 30 minute video, but I don't see it. Anyways, I got some clips here about the head of the FCC.
So you think you have jurisdiction over political satire under the public interest standard and the news distortion standard, just to put a fine point on it?
My position is
just about that one is a yes or no. Do you have jurisdiction or not?
We have jurisdiction with respect to the broadcast airwaves uniquely to ensure that their operations are in the public interest. And there's very specific rules there, broadcast hoax and news distortion.
So if there's a determination by the Federal Communications Commission that satire is not in the public interest, you believe you have the authority to revoke the license of the broadcaster?
That's not my position at all.
But I'm asking you.
Are you talking about God and Country? Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time. I want to watch it again now.
Do you think it is appropriate for you to have an opinion at all in your official capacity about what a comedian says, as offensive as it may have been?
Senator, my job is to implement the law passed by Congress. And Congress has said that broadcast is fundamentally different, that there's a public interest standard.
Do you think there are
decades of precedent on this?
Do you think there are any conservative commentators or conservative comedians or conservative satirists that ever say anything offensive that you would consider investigating?
I'm not looking at things that are offensive or awful, to use your words. I'm looking at things that are consistent with our public interest rules and regulations.
He was only a producer. I think the guy's name is Portland, maybe, or something. That was the actual director.
That's the full scope.
And in what way? So I'm a little confused because it seems to me that in subsequent conversations, I forgot after Ted and John Thune and Dave McCormick and others said, "Ooh, this seems like a little much for you, Chairman."
Now, his exact statement was, they either take care of Kimmel or we can do this the easy or the hard way, where they got to take care of Kimmel. You know what I mean? Like, on a podcast, on Benny Johnson's podcast, and now he's saying, it wasn't about Jimmy Kimmel. It's just about following the rule. Everybody's got to follow the same rules.
that you went out and you said that was fake news. I didn't do that. This is fake news. I am not doing that. I'm not going after Jimmy Kimmel. And now you're saying you have a perfect right to go after Jimmy Kimmel, and I'm wondering which one it is.
No, two different things. Democrats at the time were saying that we explicitly threatened to pull a license if Jimmy Kimmel wasn't fired. That never happened. That was nothing more than projection and distortion by Democrats. What I am saying is any broadcaster that uses the airwaves, whether radio or TV, has to comply with the public interest in it. And licenses are not sacred cows. Yes, you can do things to lose a license.
I mean, you're kind of tiptoeing through the tulips here, right? Because what you actually said is they have a license granted by us at the FCC that comes with an obligation to operate in the public interest. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to change conduct and take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or there's going to be...
Find a way to take action on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work.
Additional work for the FCC ahead. It will not age well, and it will not age well on the conservative side of the aisle and the liberal side of the aisle. This is not American FCC behavior. And I'm hoping we can recalibrate. So you think you have jurisdiction over political...
And then we had this one. Is the FCC independent? See if you can answer this question.
Okay, the FCC is
yes
not.
Or no?
Is not.
Okay.
Is not.
So is your website wrong? Is your website lying?
The website says the FCC is an independent agency.
Chairman Carr, yes or no, and please, yes or no. Is the FCC an independent agency?
Senator, thanks for that question. I think that
yes or no is all we need, sir. Yes or no, is it independent?
Well, there's a test for this in the law, and the key portion of that test.
Yes or no, Brendan?
The key portion of that test
is... I'm going to go to Commissioner Trustee. So just so you know, Brendan, on your website, it just simply says, man, the FCC is independent. This isn't a trick question.
Okay, the FCC is
yes
not.
Or no?
Is not.
Okay.
Is not.
So is your website wrong? Is your website lying?
Possibly. The FCC is not an independent agency.
Okay, can I read this to you? The FCC's mission on the homepage of the FCC, man, an independent U.S. government agency overseen by Congress. Is that factual or is that a lie?
The FCC is not formally an independent agency.
Is this true or is this a lie?
I'm happy to answer your question.
Okay.
The sine qua non of independence is being removable by the president.
Chairman, I have a little bit of time. I'll get back to you.
The FCC is not an independent agency, formally speaking.
Appreciate you saying that and being honest with the American people.
Okay, the FCC is
yes
not.
Or no?
Is not.
Okay.
Is not.
So is your website wrong? Is your website lying? Chairman.
Doesn't seem like we're going to get any answers there, huh? His name's Brendan Carr, I think. Right.
So when you're talking about all power vested in the president, I mean, I just want to read this a little more because you're saying not just that it is an independent agency, but you're saying that Congress did not want these technical decisions to be made in a haphazard manner or based on misinformation or short-term political interest. You specifically said it placed the authority outside of the executive branch for a reason. So you were not just stating what was the law at the time. You're stating the benefit that comes with the independence. So I guess I'm
Andy Carr.
From you. If you don't think that the FCC is independent, then is President Trump your boss?
President Trump is
Andy Kim.
Chairman of the FCC. I think it comes as no surprise that I'm aligned with President Trump on policy. I think that's why he designated me as chairman. But ultimately,
you consider him your boss?
Ultimately, the President designated me as chairman. I can be fired by the president. The president is the head of the executive branch. The decisions of the commission.
So he's your boss.
Look, the decisions of the commission are going to be based on a vote of the three of us right here. So there are some things that are different about that. And our decisions are based on the facts and the law and the record.
You swore an oath when you came into your job, right? Does the oath have the word president in it?
Senator, again, I'm not tracking this line. What I'm saying is every decision.
Do you remember the oath that you took?
Yeah.
You swear an oath to protect what?
So every single decision.
What is it?
7 just resubscribed for 36 months.
Oh, it's 3 years,
Please read us
Jaybird.
the new engraved plaques under the former president's pictures. Folded hands emoji.
That you're protecting.
It's 3 years. Thanks for the
Based on the
research.
Constitution of the United States. I'm just, look, this is not a test here. I'm just trying to get a sense of how you're trying to operate here. So when you're talking about all. Have you ever had a conversation with the president or senior administration officials about using the FCC to go after critics?
Well, first of all, Senator, I don't get into the specifics of conversations.
I can't tell you that.
Let me reframe it then. Would it be appropriate
Crazy,
for the
dude.
or senior administration officials to give you direction to pressure media companies?
Look, sir, I'm not going to get into hypotheticals, but I can tell you.
Well, look, the easy answer is no. The decision is not hypothetical. It's literally just trying to determine whether or not you are understanding your job belonging to the American people. Trump is not your boss. So the American people are your boss. And here's just one example I want to give on this.
Decisions are going to be based on a vote.
Let me finish my comment here, okay? On August 24th, Trump wrote ABC and NBC.
Please consider supporting the show. You can subscribe. You can donate. You can use the link that the mods have to help pay the bills around here. I know it's Christmas time. Money's tight, but that's how we pay the bills here. I'd appreciate it. 66.
They are simply an arm of the Democratic Party and should, accordingly to many, have their licenses revoked by the FCC. I would be totally in favor of that because they are so biased and untruthful and an actual threat to our democracy. So this is not hypothetical, like you said. He did
125.
intentionally try to pressure you and direct you to be able to use your power in the FCC against media companies that he thought were biased against him. So that's why I just want to say this is not hypothetical. This is not theoretical. This is real. Have you ever had a conversation with the president or senior administration officials about using the...
Of course he has.
Agency. Senator, thanks for that question. I think
yes or no is all we need, sir. Yes or no, is it independent?
We just watched this one.
Test for this in the law, in the key.
Chairman Carr, yes or no, and please, yes or no. Is the FCC an independent?
Jimmy Kimmel is angry, overtly partisan, and profoundly unfunny. Jimmy's remarks about Charlie Kirk were tasteless, and ABC and its affiliates.
He had no tasteless remarks. Again, what he said is MAGA was too busy trying to prove this wasn't one of them to grieve.
Would have been fully within their rights to fire him or simply to no longer air his program. That was their choice. But what government cannot do is force private entities to take actions that the government cannot take directly. Government officials threatening adverse consequences for disfavored content is
on a podcast of all places, you piece of shit.
Unconstitutional coercion that chills protected speech. Democrat or Republican, we cannot have the government arbitrating truth or opinion. Jimmy Kimmel is angry, overtly partisan, and profoundly unfunny. Jimmy's remarks about Charlie Kirk were tasteless, and ABC and its affiliates would have been fully within their rights.
Broadcast TV is fundamentally different than any other forms of media, whether it's cable or podcast or soapbox or man on the street. There's a public trustee model that Congress has set up. When you
think there should be no rules in place when it comes to tech platforms then?
I think there's no public interest obligation. There is no license.
Do you think we should change the laws? Here's one. Last week, President Trump came out with this dangerous and likely illegal AI rule that preempts all the states from doing anything to try to save people, whether it is kids that are being exposed to content they shouldn't see, or fentanyl, or political videos that are lies. So do you think Congress has the authority to preempt state laws, or do you think President Trump and the agencies like yourself have the authority to preempt state law when it comes to the internet and safety with AI?
Well, when it comes to AI in particular, there's an executive order. It asks the FCC to initiate a proceeding. We're going to initiate a proceeding. We're open-minded on where that goes. But look, if you want to step back and talk about weaponization, we saw that for 4 years in the Biden administration. Senate Democrats.
There we go. Biden did.
President, you are head of the FCC, and Donald Trump is president, and I'm trying.
So if it was really that bad, shouldn't you fix it?
To deal with this right now. So
broadcast TV is fundamentally different than any other forms of media, whether it's cable, or podcast, or soapbox, or man.
So, Chairman Carr, yes or no, please, given that this edit by Fox News was clearly meant to make Donald Trump look good right in the middle of a presidential campaign, will you commit to opening an investigation into Fox News for its deceptive editing of this clip? Again, yes or no, please, because I have questions for the other witnesses.
No.
No.
Of course not.
So, you're an elected bureaucrat. You're deciding that some investigations should go on and others shouldn't. And are you basing this solely on the target, or are you basing this? What are you basing this on? Can you answer that question? This was clearly edited. Why is one edit fine and one edit not in the middle of a presidential campaign?
Senator, it's based on the law. The Fox News interview was on cable. There's no public interest standard. There's no broadcast hoax rule. There's no news distortion. There's no role for the FCC there.
Well, I think there is a rule for fairness, and the American public understand what's fair and just. And
the same broad fairness rule that we should apply at the FCC to cable companies?
I'm going to go on to merger threats then, Chairman. So, Chairman Carr, yes or no, please, given that this edit.
Democrats at the time were saying that we explicitly threatened to pull a license if Jimmy Kimmel wasn't fired. That never happened. That was nothing more than projection and distortion by Democrats. I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to change conduct, to take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC. Again, there's actions that we can take on licensed broadcasters, and frankly, I think that it's really sort of past time.
Well, thank you, Jen and Jason. I appreciate it.
Themselves push back on.
Jen and Jason made a donation. Happy holidays, Will. Happy holidays to you guys.
Comcast and Disney and say, look, we're going to preempt. We're not going to run Kimmel anymore until you straighten this out, because we licensed broadcaster, are running the possibility of fines or license revocation from the FCC if we continue to run content that ends up being a pattern. Until you straighten this out, because we licensed broadcaster, are running the possibility of fines or license revocation from the FCC if we continue to run.
We are running. So he's speaking as ABC, saying, oh, we got to get rid of Kimmel because we might get fines or lose our license as the head of the FCC.
Content that ends up being a pattern of news distortion. Democrats at the time were saying that we explicitly threatened to pull.
And you did.
Senator, thanks for that question.
Carr is turning the Federal Communications Commission into the Federal Censorship Commission, and he must resign, because that's the most powerful position, with the exception of President Trump in the Oval Office, that we have in terms of how we're able to communicate using the First Amendment in our country. He must resign. Carr is turning the Federal Communications Commission into the Federal Censorship Commission, and he must resign.
including CNN media analyst Sarah Fisher. So that was going to be one of the questions that I was going to ask you.
Chairman Carr, in 2022, you tweeted, "Political satire is one of the oldest and most important forms of free speech. It challenges those in power while using humor to draw more people into the discussion. That's why people in influential positions have always targeted it for censorship." Yes or no, do you still agree that political satire should be protected speech?
Yes, Senator. And whenever that satire or any other programming is over the public airways from broadcasters, there's a public interest standard, and there's a news distortion rule, a broadcast hoax rule.
You answered it. You answered it. Yes, and I'm just
opportunity rule.
I'm going to go on. I believe too that there is no place in chilling political satire. But after Jimmy Kimmel's monologue, you went on a podcast and suggested that ABC should take Kimmel off the air, saying we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Those were your words. And this incident with Kimmel wasn't an isolated event. You've launched investigations into every major broadcast network.
Thank you, Gentegrity.
Is that correct?
I appreciate it.
I don't know if that's true or not. We do have investigations going on NPR and PBS. We have a number of investigations that are ongoing.
Chairman Carr, in 2022, you tweeted political.
Going to go after PBS. They're educating our kids.
Senator Curtis, I believe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sure everybody will be disappointed. I'm actually going to...
Even Ted Cruz is like, this is fucked up.
Subjects. Chairman, you were good enough to come to my office a few days ago, and we talked about Section 230. And in that meeting, I tried to bifurcate. I know a lot of people, when you hear 230, think of censorship. And for a minute, just set that aside. I'm not going to try to solve that. It's a very complex issue. But you and I talked about algorithms. And for those who weren't there, the analogy that kind of comes to mind is a digital billboard. Originally, social media companies were to provide the venue for a digital billboard. Somewhere along the line, that model changed. We compared it to the post office. If the post office is delivering a letter from you to me, we obviously don't hold them responsible for that content. But if the post office opened that letter, read it, and then said, we're actually going to send this to 100 million people, that's a different conversation. So my question for you is, from your perspective, are we underestimating the dangers of algorithm-driven content?
Well, Senator, thank you for the question. I've gone back since our meeting and taken a look at your legislation again, and I'm happy to continue to meet and discuss with you on that. I do think I've expressed concerns over the years about how courts have sort of misinterpreted and given expansive new readings to Section 230 that aren't in the statutory text, and I think there's some of those issues in your legislation as well that are worth looking at.
Thank you. And to kind of here again bring everybody else up to speed that hasn't had the chance to do that, the question is, should Section 230 protections apply to social media companies that employ harmful recommendations or cause harm by their recommendations, going beyond just the digital billboard, but actually taking those now and sending them out to hundreds of millions of people?
Yes, sir. And there's a debate to some extent in the courts as well about part of Section 230 that talks about platforms being liable if they've contributed, even in part, to the development. And it's sort of a live issue. How does algorithms play into the contributed in part portion of that analysis?
Yeah, and as everybody here knows, this Section 230 goes decades and decades back. And I think it's clear to say we didn't really see the world that we're in today. And so I just introduced that to you and to others as something that we need to start thinking about. Also, when you were in my office, we talked about permitting reform. And would love to ask you, you've had a chance to think about this, what's the role of Congress in assisting you in your permitting reform goals? And what can we be doing on our side to make sure that we can actually complete these projects in a responsible way that are so important to you to complete?
Well, thank you, Senator. Look, I think there's no question that it costs too much and it takes too long to build out not just broadband infrastructure, but almost any infrastructure in this country. And I think that's probably one of the most significant economic development efforts that this Congress can do is to continue to codify and streamline permitting regulations. We have a proceeding underway at the FCC. We're looking at NEPA, the environmental regulations, and how perhaps they've been misapplied in onerous ways over the years. We're looking at state and local requirements where potentially their fees and permitting structure might not align with the cost-based approach that we've used before. But we have to get back to turning dirt, and this is going to be an important...
they won't change 230.
Trustee, right. You see permitting reform, and how important is it that we figure this out?
It's essential. It's essential to meeting our universal connectivity goals. You know, as the chairman mentioned, we've been working on simplifying rules, reducing regulatory burdens on businesses, and streamlining licensing and permitting processes to better advance broadband providers' build-out efforts. So we're looking at pole attachments, making those processes more cost-effective and transparent. He mentioned environmental and historic reviews, making sure that those reviews are more predictable and efficient. And we're also looking at opening up access to rights-of-way, another barrier to deploying broadband and connecting homes and businesses across the country.
Commissioner Gomez, you agree with your colleagues?
Senator, I think getting access to affordable broadband is...
Thank you to each of you. Chairman Carr, let's start with free speech. I think you would agree that the FCC's public interest standard has been weaponized against conservatives in the past. In 2018, Senate Democrats tried to pressure the FCC to use the public interest standard to stop Sinclair Broadcasting Group from acquiring Tribune Media. In 2023, leftists sought to stop a routine renewal of a Fox-owned broadcast station over complaints about 2020 election coverage. Do you agree that that was wrong?
Yes, Senator, I agree. And those are cases, in fact, where rather than following FCC precedent, the agency broke from it and did so in a weaponized way.
Now, another area of agreement between you and I is that Jimmy Kimmel is angry, overtly partisan, and profoundly unfunny. That, sadly, is true for most late-night comedians today, who seem to have been collectively broken by President Trump's election. Jimmy's remarks about Charlie Kirk were tasteless, and ABC and its affiliates would have been fully within their rights to fire him or simply to no longer air his program. That was their choice. But
this is Ted Cruz's full context.
Private entities to take actions that the government cannot take directly. Government officials threatening adverse consequences for disfavored content is an unconstitutional coercion that chills protected speech. This is why it was so insidious how the Biden administration jawboned social media into shutting down conservatives online over accurate information on COVID or voter fraud. My Democrat colleagues were persistently silent over that scandal, but I welcome them now having discovered the First Amendment to the Bill of Rights. Democrat or Republican, we cannot have the government arbitrating truth or opinion. Mr. Chairman, my question is this. So long as there is a public interest standard, shouldn't it be understood to encompass robust First Amendment protections to ensure that the FCC cannot use it to chill speech?
Yes, sir, I agree with you there. And I think the examples you laid out, weaponization during the Biden years are perfect examples. The Fox case you mentioned was a renewal for a broadcast TV license, and petitioner sought to have the FCC not renew it based on content that aired on a separate cable channel. In the cable context, it's entirely different. There's no license, there's no public interest standard. So first and foremost, we have to make sure the FCC went to precedent. Similarly, we saw Democrats in Congress write letters to cable companies pressuring them to drop Fox News, OAN, and Newsmax because they disagree with the political perspectives of those cable channels. And there, again, it was cable. No broadcast license, no public interest standard. So the FCC has to write within the four corners of our precedents to be consistent with the Communications Act and the First Amendment concerns as well.
Thank you to each of you. Chairman Carr, let's start with free speech.
So they're talking about the difference between over-the-air, public airwaves, so local TV, radio using public airwaves, and cable and satellite don't fall under their purview. They have a limited purview over that. Let's go to the plaques. I want to get to where we read some of them.
Been added to the so-called presidential walk of fame. They almost read some of them like Truth Social posts, including the ones.
And Carolyn Levitt said Trump wrote some of these himself.
Under President Obama's that says he was one of the most divisive political figures in American history. Under President Biden's, it describes.
Sleepy Joe was by far the worst president in American history. Taking office as a result of the most corrupt election ever seen in the United States, Biden oversaw a series of unprecedented disasters that brought our nation to the brink of destruction. His policies caused the highest inflation ever recorded, leading the U.S. dollar to lose more than 20% of its value in 4 years. His Green New Scam surrendered American energy dominance, and by abolishing the southern border, Biden let 21 million people from all over the world pour the United States, including from prisons, jails, and mental institutions, and insane asylums. His Afghanistan disaster was among the most humiliating events in American history, and this is the president putting this at the White House, and resulted in the murder of 13 brave American service members, with many others gravely wounded. Seeing Biden's devastating weakness, Russia invaded Ukraine, and Hamas terrorists launched the heinous October 7th attack on Israel. Nicknamed both Sleepy and Crooked Joe Biden, was dominated by his radical left handlers. They and their allies in the fake news media
Him as
attempted
Sleepy Joe Biden.
Attempted to cover up for his mental decline and his unprecedented use of the auto pen following his humiliating debate loss to the President Trump. In the big June 2024 debate, he was forced to withdraw from his campaign for re-election in disgrace. Biden weaponized law enforcement agencies against his political opponent while also persecuting many other innocent people. He left office issuing blanket pardons to radical Democrat criminals and thugs, as well as members of the Biden crime family. But despite it all, President Trump would get reelected in a landslide and save America. That's what he's got posted. And then again, this is a picture of the auto pen. That's what he's had made and posted. We're just outside the Oval Office there, along the West Wing wall.
Biden, and also says that he was the worst U.S. president in history. There are some that are nicer, including under Ronald Reagan's, for example, where President Trump says that
Ronald Reagan won the Cold War and transformed American politics, and the conservative movement. Before entering the White House, Reagan was a Hollywood actor, president of the Screen Actors Guild, governor of California, and for decades, a leading voice in American conservatism. As president, he enacted tax cuts, presided over a thriving economy, and rebuilt the American military. He survived being shot by an assassin and confronted the Soviet Union with striking moral clarity, labeling it an evil empire and putting unprecedented pressure on the communist menace. Known as
the end that he was a fan of Trump's long before
the great communicator, he was reelected in a landslide in 1984 and left office with high approval, having restored national confidence, spirit, and will. He was a fan of President Donald J. Trump long before President Trump's historic run for the White House. Likewise, President Trump was a fan of his.
He ran for president. The White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, says the president actually hand-wrote some of these plaques himself.
Of course he did. He's a fucking child.
So these...
Of course he did. Yeah, we know. Let's see if we can find Obama's. Barack Hussein Obama was the first black president, a community organizer, one-term senator from Illinois, and one of the most divisive political figures in American history. As president, he passed a highly ineffective, unaffordable Care Act, resulting in his party losing control of both the House and Congress and the election of the largest House Republican majority since 1946. He presided over a stagnant economy, approved the terrible Iran nuclear deal, and signed the one-sided Paris Climate Accords, both of which were later terminated by President Donald J. Trump. He's a lunatic, right? Like he's legit a lunatic. What the fuck is wrong with him? Let's go to the next one. George W. Bush. The son of former President George H.W. Bush, George W. Bush was the governor of Texas when he won the hotly contested 2000 election for president. His administration was largely defined by the events of September 11, 2001, the destruction of the World Trade Center, after which he led the War on Terror. President Bush created the Department of Homeland Security, but started wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, both of which should not have happened. He also enacted tax cuts, expanded Medicaid, signed the No Child Left Behind education bill, and launched a President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR. Shortly before the end of his administration, a global financial crisis and major recession took place. Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton served as Attorney General and Governor of Arkansas before winning the presidency in what was called a major upset over President George H.W. Bush. As president, Clinton signed crime and welfare legislation, which was passed with the leadership of Republicans in Congress. He approved NAFTA, which President Donald J. Trump would later terminate as being bad for the United States, welcomed China into the World Trade Organization, and oversaw NATO's military intervention in Bosnia and Kosovo. Despite the scandals that plagued his presidency, the tech boom of the late 1990s resulted in excellent economic growth, which helped him and Republicans in Congress deliver balanced budgets for the first time in decades. In 2016, President Clinton's wife, Hillary, which has nothing to do with this, lost the presidency to President Donald J. Trump, ! And Trump's own. On January 20th, President Donald J. Trump became the first president in 132 years to be sworn into office for a second non-consecutive term following his historic victory in the Electoral College landslide, 312 to 226. Overcoming unprecedented weaponization of law enforcement against him, as well as 2 assassination attempts, he won all battleground states by millions of votes, was the first Republican in decades to win the popular vote, big, and won 86% of counties in America, 2,700 to 525. All 50 states shifted towards the Republican Party for the first time ever. That happened across the globe, by the way. The whole world shifted more conservative because of the economy. Towards the Republican Party for the first time ever. At his inauguration, President Trump announced the beginning of the golden age of America, and he delivered, ending 8 wars in his first 8 months, securing the border, deporting gang members and migrant criminals, making our cities safe, helping our farmers, defeating inflation, reducing energy costs, and drawing in trillions of dollars of new investment, a record in the United States. President Trump signed the largest tax cuts in American history, the largest spending cuts in American history, and implemented the largest ever regulation cuts. He obliterated Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity with Operation Midnight Hammer, convinced NATO countries to agree to increase their contributions from 2% to 5% of GDP, reformed the global trading system, and made America rich with historic tariffs, removed critical race theory and transgender insanity from public schools, and banned men from women's sports. He began the construction of the Golden Dome missile defense shield, renamed the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America, and has built right here at the White House the magnificent Trump presidential ballroom after 225-year wait, but the best is yet to come. It's weird he didn't describe his own term as plagued by scandals. It's just weird seeing it in like a bronze plaque, right? We always see it on Truth Social.
Plaques have just been added to the so-called Presidential Walk of Fame. They almost read, some of them, like Truth Social posts, including the ones under President Obama's that says he was one of the most divisive political figures in American history. Under President Biden's, it describes him as Sleepy Joe Biden and also says that he was the worst U.S. president in history. There are some that are nicer, including under Ronald Reagan's, for example, where President Trump says at the end that he was a fan of Trump's long before he ran for president. The White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt says the president actually hand wrote some of these plaques himself.
Do you know that Caroline Leavitt, hold on. Stole an orphan's dog? Stole orphan children's dog. I want to say this accurately. She stole a dog and refused to return it. She didn't steal it. She took a dog and refused to return it to orphan children. See if I can find the link. Hold on. Who lost their parents and their dog in Katrina. And the court, they had to sue her to get their dog back. They found a lawyer that would do it pro bono. And they had to sue her to get their dog back. Give me just a second. It was I'm looking for the clip so I don't have to try to retell the entire story. Damn, I didn't think it was this far back. I might be fucked. It was two women on a podcast, but I don't know who either one of them was. Damn it! And they were doing the history of Caroline Leavitt. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Maybe it was just history. It was a two-part. I was on part 2. I'm almost positive I just watched it on TikTok not long ago. The podcast was really funny. I want to try to find it. Give me a second. I should have saved the fucking link like I always do, but I didn't on this one. Okay, I went way back too far. So let me go back to today. It's worth it. Just give me a second. Fuck, if I watched it on the computer instead of my phone, it's not going to be in my watch history, is it? I bet you that's the problem. Yeah, I'm already too far back. Fuck. Caroline, not history. It was during Katrina. I can try Katrina too. The two women that did it, I need to follow their podcast. It was very funny. The dog's name was Duke. No, Tank. By the way, did you guys see that Carolyn Levitt's, nephew's mom? The administration was trying to paint her as like an absent mother, and she didn't take care of the kid and wasn't in the kid's life or whatever. And none of that's true. They actually had that woman on, and they were like on the news, and they were like, why would they paint you like this? She's like, I have no idea. I guess because ICE fucking picked me up. Like, what the fuck? And they wanted to make it seem like I was a deadbeat or piece of shit or something. They did a full interview with her. And I'm sure somebody's got the story. Let's just do this. I'm not going to be able to find the Katrina dog. I'm not going to be able to find the podcast, but I can just find the story, hopefully. It's amazing. It's this hard to find. Was it this podcast?
Now we know that the courts are calling the action of Doge illegal. And there has been fierce debate because the Trump administration
I've had it
will not
podcast.
name. There is a
Is there another woman on this?
well, an administrator. This has been, I believe that.
No, I don't think. I know her, and I don't think it was her. Or at least I recognize her, and I don't think it was her. Oh, I didn't try this. Sued for a dog. I'm spelling it right? Levitt sued over dog. All right, damn it. Now it's here somewhere. I know I just didn't make it up. I want to say they were just doing the history of Caroline Levitt. I'm going to have to read the damn story, I guess. I'm an idiot. It's not Caroline Levitt. The entire time I've been saying Caroline Levitt. It's fucking Pam Bondi. God damn it. Why am I retarded? I knew that too. I was picturing Pam Bondi in my head. In my head, I was picturing Pam Bondi. The fuck is wrong with me? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong. In my head, I was picturing her too. Like, I was thinking about it. Like, oh, I can even, I was even in my head thinking, oh, I can picture her. Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Yeah, I'm still not going to be able to find it. How fucked up would that be? Yeah, they all look the same. Starting to. I'm just gonna read the story. I can't find the clip for it. History, maybe? It was two women going back and forth, but you mostly just see one woman. But I don't think it was that I've had it podcast. Because I would have recognized that one woman. And I don't believe I did. All right, here we go. I just read it to you. Damn it. Of course, this one's locked. All right, this one's unlocked. Let's go. Bondi, 59, served as Sunshine State's Attorney General from 2011-2019, represented Trump at his first impeachment trial before the Senate. But she is not entirely free from controversy herself. She has been accused of declining to take part in a class-action lawsuit against Trump University in 2013 after a Republican donated more than $25,000 to her re-election campaign. But perhaps more bizarrely, Bondi found herself caught up in a canine custody battle where she was accused of stealing a pet dog. The saga began when Bondi adopted a St. Bernard dog, which had become separated from its family by Hurricane Katrina in 2005 from Florida Pinellas County Humane Society. She changed its name from Master Tank to Noah, okay? So when the hurricane's coming, this family has to take their dog to a temporary shelter, okay? The temporary shelter, Google is not saying it's a false story. Google is saying she didn't technically steal a dog. You're just wrong. Anyways, it goes to a temporary shelter, and then somehow, some mix-up, it gets put in a permanent shelter in a different shelter. When the animal's true owners, a Louisiana couple, Steve and Doreen Couture, tracked Master Tank down to her home in Tampa Bay in January 2006 and found him in a lawyer's custody, their request for it to be returned was refused. She just said no. Like, they're like, hey, we went through Katrina. We had to put our dog here. That somehow got mixed up, and they let you adopt our dog. And she's like, no. And they lost both their parents in Hurricane Katrina. Instead, Bondi accused the grandparents. So it's the grandparents and kids, okay? The parents died in Katrina. They're orphans being raised by their grandparents, okay? Instead, Bondi accused the grandparents of neglecting their animals, saying, oh, when I got it, it was underweight and it had heartworms. So you mistreated this dog. I'm not giving it back to you. I took a dog who was a walking skeleton, she told the St. Petersburg. Who cares? At this point, they lived through Hurricane Katrina. Give them the fucking dog. That was what was wrong with him before the hurricane, she said. If I thought I was sending him to a stable environment where he could be cared for as hard as it would be, I'd put him in my car and drive him back myself. I made a promise to him that I would protect him. The Coutures denied her accusation, revealing that Master Tank had suffered from heartworms since he was 10 months old and continued to demand his return. The family sued, and a 16-month legal battle ensued, which ended with two sides settling out of court before the dispute came to trial, and she returned the dog. Bondi eventually returned Master Tank to the Coutures with a supply of food and medication. Plans for her to receive photos and updates of the puppy's well-being soon fell apart, with the Coutures claiming that the lawyer had failed to honor her promise to visit the dog and pay for his food and medical bills for life, she's like, I'll give him back, but, it was a burden. It really was. Doreen Couture told the St. Petersburg Times in 2010 about the ordeal. Financially, emotionally, it was a really rough time. Asked whether the family planned to keep lines of communication with Bondi open, she added, "Why should I? She stole my dog. She has no compassion at all." Bondi eventually got a new pup, another St. Bernard. It's St. Bernard. I received tremendous amount of support from people and animal rights activists and no criticism at all, she said at the time. So they asked her, they're like, are you worried you're going to get bad press over stealing some orphans' dogs? And she's like, no, everybody's supported me so far. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Stole some orphan's dog. Like, I understand she didn't know it at the time when she got it, right? But then the orphans and the grandparents come to you and say, hey, that's our dog. There was a mix-up at the shelter or whatever. We spent months tracking him down. We'd like him back. No. Nope. I don't care that the grandkids are the only ones who survived Katrina, and they're now living with their grandparents, and that this is your fucking dog, and I got him by mistake. I'm keeping him. What a fucking lunatic, dude. Pam Bondi steals the orphan's dog. I wish I could find the podcast clip. That's insane, right? The podcast clip was funny, but I don't guess it really matters. Taken to court over dog. I don't know what it looks like. It looks like bots have flooded the story to where you can't find it. Bondi secretly signals her dog, and the courtroom. Or what is this? It's on here like 100 times.
I've got something, he said. All movement halted. From beneath the table, he pulled a wafer, thin, adhesive, back square no bigger than a credit card. It looked like a child sticker, but it wasn't. He turned to the judge. Listening device, not DOJ issue. Judge Greaves stiffened. How did it get there? Pam finally spoke, her voice measured. Your Honor, Bruno's trained to detect silent emissions, low-frequency pulses that mimic ambient electronics but don't belong. He wasn't smelling a scent. He was reading interference. You gave him a command? Pam shook her head.
Like, what the fuck? It's like they flooded this to where you can't find the story. Is that not weird? I understand Doge pops up when I type in dog, but Pam Bondi secretly activated her pet dog in the middle of court? That is a weird story that doesn't make any fucking sense.
So at this point, I'm convinced that qualifications for Trump's cabinet includes weird backstory with a dog. So if you didn't know, Pam Bondi, Matt Gaetz's
oh yeah, I forgot about Kristi Noem's dog story too.
For Attorney General, was formerly the Attorney General of Florida and was a prosecutor in Hillsborough County, Florida, where I was born and raised. And way back in the day, she adopted a dog that was separated from a family during Hurricane Katrina. And then when that
apparently it was like local news in like Florida for like 16 months, the whole time the court case and everything was going on.
Came back and said, hey, you have our dog. These kids' parents were unalived before the hurricane and now they're separated and lost their dog. Can we have our dog back? She fought them in court for over a year. Like, so at this point, I'm convinced.
Yes, it was. Who is that? Okay, Hysteria Podcast, and then we want to look at the Bondi episode. You nailed it. These women were funny.
You have been in office, President Trump. Your DOJ agencies have seized more than 22 million fentanyl pills.
That also didn't last. They divorced in 2002. After that, for a period of time, she was more focused on dogs and being on TV than she was on love. Shortly after Bondi's beloved St. Bernard passed away from cancer in 2005, she adopted a St. Bernard puppy that had been left homeless by the destruction of Hurricane Katrina. She named him Noah.
Maybe I like her more now.
No. You have to listen to the rest of the story. So Pam adopted this dog from a shelter in Florida, but in January 2006, the dog's family found him and wanted him back. Yeah, he already had a family, a grandma and a grandpa, and their 2 grandkids. Alyssa, do you want to know why those kids were living with their grandparents?
Yes.
Because their parents had died. They were orphans. Orphans displaced by a hurricane.
That's fucked up to laugh at, but goddamn, she stole orphans' dogs.
When they lost their home during the storm, they'd given their dog to a shelter temporarily, they thought. But somehow their puppy got transferred to a rescue and was adopted by Bondi from there. So after they found him, the disaster-ravaged family asked for him back. And Pam was like, no.
She tried to keep the puppy away from the orphan children?
Yeah. She even implied to one publication that the dog, originally named Master Tank, had been severely neglected by the original owners. Master Tank's real family had to sue Bondi to get their dog back. A lawyer offered to represent them pro bono in the case. And after 16 months of legal battles, wherein Bondi tried to use her knowledge of the legal system to exhaust the family into giving up, a court forced her to return Master Tank.
Aaron, my first cat, Shrummy, was also a Katrina rescue, and I hope he haunts her dreams.
Pam Bondi got a new dog shortly thereafter. This dogfight was covered everywhere from People magazine to local media, both in Louisiana and Florida. And the incident even landed in an anti-Bondi ad when she was running for Attorney General in 2010. Now, when Bondi threw her hat in the ring for the Republican Party's nomination for Attorney General of Florida, observers noted that she'd been a registered Democrat until 2000. Bondi defended herself by saying that she wanted to have a bigger impact in Democratic primaries, but that wasn't exactly true because she hadn't voted in several primaries between 1984 and 1992. People who knew her say that she went from a political centrist to a hardcore Republican seemingly overnight. Bondi did what she had to do, which is fake it until you make it. She defeated 2 other Republicans to win the party nomination and ended up winning the general by a comfortable margin, thanks in part to a high-profile endorsement from former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin, who was still taken seriously by Republican Party politics at the time.
Oh, Sarah Palin walked so that Marjorie Taylor Greene could run, and Greene ran so that Lauren Boebert could give a hand job at a Beetlejuice matinee.
That's exactly why they did those things, Alyssa. During Bondi's run for AG, a business called Lender Processing Service donated $31,972 to the Republican Attorneys General Association, $26,500 to the Republican.
They are pretty funny.
And $500 directly to Bondi's campaign. As soon as Bondi took office, she started acting like she was working for LPS, which is a problem because Lender Processing Service was victimizing the people of Florida.
Lender Processing Service is one of those banal-sounding companies with an evil mission. It helped banks steal homes through foreclosure fraud. Without getting too in the weeds, Florida was one of many ground zeros for the 2007 and 8 real estate collapse. Banks would take mortgages, package and resell them, but not keep track of who actually owned the underlying property, aka following the chain of title. Of course, since scams and slime are so endemic in Florida, there was a thriving foreclosure mill business in the state that aimed to swipe houses right out from underneath homeowners by mass-producing foreclosure paperwork, some of which was blatantly fraudulent. One of those was LPS.
So Bondi had pledged to fight foreclosure fraud and protect consumers during her campaign, but she actually did the opposite. When she got elected, LPS was under investigation by the state of Florida, thanks in part to Teresa Edwards and June Clarkson, 2 attorneys in the Economic Crimes Division of the Attorney General's office. According to David Dayan, author of a 2016 book on foreclosure fraud called Chain of Title, here's what happened next. Quote, Clarkson and Edwards were deliberately frozen out of the 50-state Attorney General investigation of foreclosure fraud, despite having the most knowledge of any prosecutors in the country. They were ordered not to speak to any other AG office, share any documents, file discovery requests, or take depositions. They were essentially neutered from performing their job at the height of a massive crime wave they helped uncover.
And then Pam Bondi fired them.
Well, technically, she gave them 90 minutes to decide if they wanted to quit or be fired.
Wow, what a return on investment. LPS paid like $57,000 and Bondi did everything they wanted. If I were a dirty company, I'd be buying up dirty politicians left and right.
At the end of the day, all the people whose homes had been stolen out from under them got a $2 million settlement. That is not much money.
Not much money.
No. There was also the matter of the Trump University bribe. Donation. In 2013, Bondi's office announced that the state of Florida was mulling joining a lawsuit against Donald Trump's scammy eponymous university. 3 days later, Trump donated $25,000 to Bondi's re-election campaign. He later admitted that her camp had asked Trump for the donation directly.
And suddenly, the state of Florida wasn't joining the fraud lawsuit against Trump University anymore.
What an incredible coincidence.
Trump and Rudy Giuliani threw a fundraiser for her at Mar-a-Lago the next year.
Another incredible coincidence. Bondi also palled around with Scientologists as early as 2010 when she toured one of the church's facilities. In 2014, 6 prominent Scientologists hosted a fundraiser for her in Clearwater, Florida. And in 2016, she spoke to a group called Florida Citizens for Social Reform. It was a group originally founded as a political action committee for the Church of Scientology, but since transitioned to being a social welfare group.
The speech was given at an event at the Fort Harrison Hotel, which is the flagship hotel for the Church of Scientology's Clearwater, Florida headquarters.
Bondi claimed through a spokesperson that she was hanging out with Scientologists because she had a personal interest in combating human trafficking, which is true. When she ran for AG, it was something she campaigned on. And she did take on a few human trafficking cases when she was Florida's top lawyer.
Except she left one very prominent Florida human trafficking case alone, Jeffrey Epstein.
There it is. Jeffrey Epstein. I feel like he's going to make an appearance in every single This Fucking Guy until the end of time. That's right. Those of you who have seen our Ghislaine Maxwell This Fucking Guy episode know this, but to refresh your memory, Bondi took office a few years after Epstein was given a sweetheart deal by the feds. By the time Bondi was in office, Epstein had already been released from jail. But Epstein's victims had never been informed of the deal, which they claimed violated the law because it did violate the law.
Bondi was pressed to take action on behalf of the victims in the Epstein case, but for some reason, she did nothing.
Weird. During her 2010 Attorney General campaign, one of her opponents attacked her from the right, accusing her of not being hardcore enough in her opposition to gay rights.
But once Bondi was elected, she fought as hard to keep gay people from getting married in Florida as she did to keep those Hurricane Katrina ravaged orphans from getting their puppy back. The bigot worried.
She worked tirelessly to uphold Amendment 2, a 2008 Florida constitutional amendment that defined marriage.
I love your laugh is contagious. I just now read that. I didn't plan that laugh. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
As between one man and one woman. Same-sex couples who had been married in other states but lived in Florida sued to have their marriages recognized. But Bondi and her team argued that such a move would do irreparable harm to the state. Why? Well, according to Bondi's court filings...
You don't know the trap that this dumb bitch on my Facebook just fell into, okay? You guys know how big I am on correcting people when they say that Biden sold off our strategic oil reserve, okay? Now, they did sell quite a bit. The largest sale that's ever been done, 180 million barrels. But when you don't have a toddler in the White House, this is what happens. Biden sold off 180 million barrels in 2022 to put it in the market to lower gas prices. It didn't lower them a whole lot, but it did help some, right? It eased the market some. Now, he sold it off at $95 a barrel. Okay? $95 a barrel. He was able to replace it once gas got cheaper at $76 a barrel on average. It's average prices, but whatever. He made $20 a barrel on 180 million barrels. Fucking genius move. It probably just fell into their lap, but their plan was always to sell it to ease gas prices now and then buy it back when it becomes cheaper because we know COVID is going to be over eventually and gas will become cheaper, right? It kind of fell into his life. Genius move. Now listen to this. Somebody made a post and it basically says, where in the world does President Trump live at? Turkey's down in price? Nope. Gas down? Nope. Jobs? Nope. We lost more jobs in history and wages are up. Well, mine are not. So he lies. That was a post on Facebook. And the first comment says, my gas was $2.49 a gallon last night. How much is yours? So I put, yeah, the oil market is close to, if not crashing. We've lost 15% of all U.S. oil rigs since he took office. What happened to drill, baby, drill? Cheap gas is only good if it can also keep our oil industry workers employed also. She responded, this is the trap she fell into. So what were your thoughts about Joe Biden selling off the oil reserve in 22? 180 million barrels? I think this was an effort to get cheap gas. It didn't work. Did he replenish that or did he forget? You dumb cunts. This is probably one of the topics I've researched more than anything about Joe Biden's presidency because people always want to bring it up. Jesus Christ.
Because
dumb
same-sex
bitch.
couples can't have biological kids.
She argued that the state has an interest in promoting heterosexual marriage, but not gay marriage, because there is a, quote, clear and essential connection between marriage and responsible procreation and child rearing.
Okay. And while Pam was busily defending the sanctity of child-producing straight marriages in a hypocritical irony that was not lost on Florida's alternative and gossip press, Bondi was busy at work on marriage number 3.
It's 2012. Our double divorcee has found love again in Dr. Greg Henderson, a multimillionaire eye doctor. The two were living together. They were engaged. In May, she and Henderson flew 70 guests, including then-Governor Rick Scott, to Grand Cayman Island. Bondi even put on an apron and handed out cocktails to her guests on the flight.
But according to a Florida gossip blogger named
I'm about to get blocked.
the ceremony was canceled at the last minute with no explanation. Guests got there and it was like, never mind, wedding's postponed. Bondi tried to smooth out the bad publicity by claiming to another gossip columnist.
How many gossip columnists are there?
It's not even real yet. He just said it, so no one knows. First of all, he doesn't control the purse. He can't authorize spend that much spending through executive order. So it'll have to go to Congress.
They're in Florida.
I don't know, but considering how long Matt Gaetz was able to wag his dong at various prom committee meetings, not enough.
Oh, damn.
According to another Florida gossip columnist, Bondi claimed that she was never going to get married on the lawn at the Ritz-Carlton, where other people get married all the time. She was actually just having a pre-wedding party in a white dress. And the real wedding was going to happen at a Baptist church, TBD. Except the real wedding never happened.
Perfect.
She and Henderson broke up at some point before she was sworn in for her second term as Florida's Attorney General in 2015. They never even applied for a marriage license. Not only did Bondi try to prevent same-sex couples' marriages from being recognized in Florida, in one prominent case, she tried to prevent a same-sex couple from getting divorced. I know. What? In court filings in 2014, Bondi claimed that Heather Brassner was not allowed to divorce Megan Lade because the couple's civil union was not the same thing legally as a marriage.
Divorce for me, but not for the...
It'd be like $3 billion or some shit.
Now, if Pam Bondi were just a regular broad, we'd be apathetic to celebratory about her Elizabeth Taylor-style life choices. Get married 7 times, girl, do you. But she sucks.
She does suck. The Huffington Post called her a modern-day Anita Bryant after the 1970s Florida beauty queen and crazy person who traveled the country throwing rallies wherein she...
Did you not hear anything that I just fucking said? It doesn't exist. You can't say only active duty. He just fucking said it. There has to be a document written down through Congress that's going to say either active duty or fucking reserves or National Guard, or it doesn't exist. Yes, but it would be. Who knows? You're talking about the fictional document that doesn't exist yet. You know what it's going to say?
accused gay people of being child molesters.
And just for context, Bondi was defending homophobic laws all the way up to 2015, the year the Supreme Court declared same-sex marriage legal nationwide. She was filing endless appeals and positioning herself as one of the most visible opponents of gay marriage, even after 20 states had bans similar to Florida's struck down by the courts. Overall, Bondi's unsuccessful gambit cost the taxpayers of Florida $500,000 in legal bills, and all they got was embarrassment on the national stage.
Why did Florida like this dumb bitch?
June 12th, 2016, a man armed with a semi-automatic weapon and a handgun.
Oh, Pulse nightclub.
Of the Pulse nightclub in Orlando before being shot dead by police.
That's a bad deal.
And 58 others were wounded in one of the deadliest mass shootings in American history. And in the aftermath, Pam Bondi tried to make herself
Still nothing out of Brown University, is it?
out like a kind and compassionate supporter of gay people.
Which led to Bondi flop sweating her way through this very awkward interview with Anderson Cooper, who rightfully wanted to know how she could suddenly claim to love the gays when she'd spent so much of her time using the power of her office to oppress them.
I talked to a lot of gay and lesbian people here yesterday who are not fans of yours and who said that they thought you were being a hypocrite, that you for years have fought, you've basically gone after gay people, said that in court that gay people, simply by fighting for marriage equality, were trying to do harm to the people of Florida. Do you really think you're a champion of the gay community?
Let me tell you, when I was sworn in as Attorney General, I put my hand on the Bible and was sworn to uphold the Constitution of the state of Florida. That's not a law. That was voted into our state constitution by the voters of Florida. That's what I was defending. Had nothing to do. I've never said I don't like gay people. That's ridiculous.
But do you worry about using language accusing gay people of trying to do harm to the people of Florida when doesn't that send a message to some people who might have bad ideas in mind?
Anderson, I don't believe gay people could do harm to the state of Florida.
But you argued that in court.
My lawyer argued against defending what the Supreme Court allowed the voters to put in our state constitution.
But you were arguing that gay marriage, if there was gay marriage, if there was same-sex marriage, that would do harm to the people of Florida.
I was defending the Constitution of what over 69% of the voters put in the Constitution.
But the federal court said that's not the Constitution.
Right.
That's nowhere near 2 months' pay. He's fucking insane. And E1 private right now, your first 4 months of enlistment, I think it's $2,300 a month. It's not even a month's pay. And nobody's an E1. Once you, it'd be like your first few months. If you go in as E1, most people don't. But your first few months, once you graduate basic training, you can no longer be an E1. You're at least an E2, right? An E2 is probably making $2,700 to $3,000 a month.
you continued to fight it.
No, that's why we rushed it to get it to the U.S. Supreme Court, because we needed
before the
finality.
Supreme Court, there was a federal judge, and you continued to fight it after the federal judge ruled. In fact, you spent hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxpayer money fighting
Anderson,
it.
we rushed to get it to the Supreme Court. You know what today's about? Human beings.
Have you ever been with a terrible man who is like, I didn't call you a bitch. I said you were acting like a bitch. Like, that's the sort of like semantic she's arguing.
In 2013, Bondi was forced to apologize after delaying the scheduled execution for convicted rapist and murderer Marshall.
Oh, shit. It's 2 a.m., guys. I got to go. Watch this, actually. Here. I'm going to subscribe to it. The Hysteria podcast. Let's see what we can learn about Pam Bondi. There's the link. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me. Consider supporting the show. I would greatly appreciate it. That's how I pay the bills around here. And you know what? My laugh is contagious. Okay? Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I'll probably be back in the next couple of days, if not tomorrow night. Thank you all. Have a good night. Love you. See you. Bye. I can't remember what my first pay. I guess I could look it up. Whatever the pay was in 2007, 2008. I don't even remember.
People on this planet.
Have a good night.
Name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the forking balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6th sense for the stupid shit. Where my true believer? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord.
Bert was going after people that get Section 8 housing vouchers, while he goes on his podcast and begs for money to pay his rent every night. He's mad about people with Section 8 housing vouchers.
Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers. Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped them to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. High on amphetamine with Trump in between. Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This is gonna be it." Whoa, wait. Stop. What? I'll get my files. Wait, what are you doing? Stop. Hold on. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously.
He's mad because I guess from what I took away from the people telling me about it, he's mad because his neighbors get Section 8 and he's above them.
About to get lit, get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Round 3. Down goes Nino. Please say it isn't so.